about him?
I think Jared Goff is the single most important player in the NFC this season. There has been a raid of his coaching staff from the last several years. 6 different coaches gone, including Ben Johnson, and now you're telling me that Frank Ragnow, his longtime center, in addition to other members of the offensive line, are no longer there as well. I think Jared Goff has had an amazing career arc where it went from success right away with McVay, then to be discarded, and then to show that, hey, no, I can still play in this game, Pro Bowls, the whole deal. Last year they came up short in the playoffs, and now you're taking not only his head coach, taking the offensive line coach, you're taking so many other coaches from that team, and now you got to say, hey, we pay you big money. Jared Goff, are we going to be the same team, or are we going to take a massive step back? Because if he is one of those top quarterbacks, they should still be the best team in the NFC North next year.
That's a question.
All right, a little bit hot out here today. So Schrager was on ESPN, and he said that I don't know if he's on ESPN now, but they was on Get Up, and they said that he says Jared Goff the most important player in the NFC. So let's talk about it. Thumbs up the video, share, subscribe to the channel. And his reasoning, and you'll see before the video, is because, you know, Lions, the offensive line, the coordinators, and if he's good, then the Lions probably the best team in the NFC North. My thing is this. I know people ain't really remember, but, you know, we on like our 3rd offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do realize that, like, we on our 3rd offensive coordinator, man. Anthony Lynn, Dan Campbell, then Ben Johnson got the job. I don't know if people really know that, so I don't really think a lot of, excuse me. Oh, I dropped my mic. Hold on. We was hot. I don't even know where my mic went. Oh, it's still there. My bad, y'all. Slipped inside my shirt. But yeah, I don't even think people realize that we're on our 3rd offensive coordinator. So, I mean, you know, for people to keep, you know, poking at Jared Goff and, you know, saying that he ain't what he used to, you know, oh, we don't know how they gonna do. Dude, we had 3 offensive coordinators, a defensive coordinator in Calvin Shepard. He been in the waiting, he been in the wings. We thought Tanner Ingerstrain was going to be the offensive coordinator. He go to the Jets. We take John Morton. Guess what? John Morton's already been in Detroit. He was here when they was installing the offense, so he has an idea. Like, you know, nobody is foreign. The coordinators are not foreign. They're very well aware to the culture of Detroit. I mean, the offensive line he talk about, you lose Ragnow, okay. That'll hurt because the center is calling the audibles and all of that stuff. But Glasgow has played some center. He's been your right guard. Benisa Will's been your right tackle. Taylor Decker's been your left tackle. Mahogany, when he came back last year, he was one of the highest rated players. I think he was the highest rated player in a couple games or close to it. So really, you know, a lot of these, nobody's really new. You know, people saying, well, Redlich shouldn't start at center. I get it. Frank Ragnow started at guard and then eventually moved to center. But they, you know, when you got 4 guys, you know, that's been around the block, you know, you feel pretty confident in what he can do. He's never played center, but he was prepped as Georgia as a center. That's why they took him. He knows how to play center. He was prepped as the backup center for Georgia, you know, all year. So that's why they drafted him. So, you know, obviously Miles Frazier's played center. Graham Glasgow's played center. So we'll see. And I think one thing that you're going to get with Tate Redlich is you're going to get a bigger center. I mean, I don't know how many centers is 6'7". So I wonder just from a standpoint of view, how is the snap going to go? That's a big guy. 6'7". I think Frank was about 6'4". So that's 3 inches a difference. I think he might be a bigger guy than him, and they got all summer to make it. I mean, guess what? Graham Glasgow plays center a lot. So a lot of the concerns they have, are they concerns? I mean, yes, if you nitpicking, but everybody's grew up in this system. Everybody's been in this system. You know, Redlich, okay, we'll see what happens. But guess what? You got Frazier, who plays center at LSU. You got Graham Glasgow, who's played center in Detroit before. I mean, you know, who knows? Frank Ragnow might get tired of his wife nagging and might want to come back. You just never really know. And Frank Ragnow was one of the best centers in football. So is there going to be a period where there's going to be some issues? Absolutely. But the 2 guys you got playing next to him in the backs who know how to pick up and pass protection, I mean, I feel like he's going to be fine. You know, you got some people that believe in how we drafted Frank. He hadn't given up, but 1 sack his whole college career, if that. at Arkansas. They believe in let's start him at guard and ease him in center. I believe the guy that was playing guard before Frank took over was Graham Glasgow, if my memory serves me correctly. And we took another guy out of Arkansas at center. It didn't work. Travis Swanson, I think his name was, or something like that. So kind of when you start going through these, things, and don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. New England, they went through offensive and defensive coordinators, and while they had Brady, and I understand that's Brady. But I think Goff has showed through Jeff Fisher, the whole being resilient with in St. Louis with Jeff Fisher, to Sean McVay. And Sean McVay couldn't really teach him how to play football. He patched a lot of things up because he was the youngest coach. Fun fact: he beat out Calvin Johnson for Mr. Football in the state of Georgia. So it was kind of tough for him because he had, when he got to Detroit, he got an opportunity where it wasn't much expectations. They didn't have a lot of weaponry in Detroit. People forget that. They didn't have a lot of weaponry in Detroit. He figured it out. Goff has been very, very resilient. You bring back Montgomery, you bring back Jahmyr Gibbs, you hope Sonoy Vaki can give you something. I heard that they trying to still work with him and running. You hear, I think Tashard Choice is the running back coach. They trying to still kind of, get him prepared. I mean, you still Jameson Williams. You want to see him take a jump. St. Brown, Sam Laporta. I mean, you still got Tim Patrick coming, finally another year removed from the Achilles or the back-to-back Achilles ankles, whatever he had going on. You got Khalif coming back, and then you got Isaac Tesla. So, a lot of times, really about Tesla is really going to be getting off that ball, off the snap. They're going to play him physical and tight. So, until he, able to, get that release, you probably won't see much of him. So that's what it's going to be about, him getting stronger. Jameson Williams, same thing. Got to get stronger to keep them DBs off of you. So, but yeah, Jared Goff been here. I mean, he came here when it was absolute nothing. The only weapon he had that was worth talking about at receiver was Tyrell Williams. Got injured in like a quarter or two. So yeah, he's important. But I just think a lot of people kind of got SOL syndrome. A lot of people don't really believe in Dan Campbell. They praise him, for the job he's done. They still look at him as a meatball head coach. They don't look at him as smart. They look at him as lesser or inferior still. So, they're going to keep second guessing his decisions. I mean, remember Bill Belichick? He sat there and he put Matt Patricia and what was the dude that coached the Giants at he almost came to Detroit. I think he coached the Giants. And he put them at offensive coordinator. They were special teams and defensive guys. So Dan Campbell, basically what this is not really an indictment of Jared Goff. And maybe it is a little bit. I don't think it should be. But really it's an indictment of Dan Campbell. Like, oh, he got lucky picking these offensive coordinators. Or he got lucky with this Detroit thing. Or, really it's Brad and it's not really him. And he's really just the bus driver. You know what I'm saying? Like with the helpmate on his team, what they call a bus aide. I mean, it's still an indictment on his football IQ. No matter how many, Aaron Glenn just praised him again. No matter what Ben Johnson talking about how smart he was and what went into the game plan as far as the win, the code. If they cross the 50, we going for it. His preparation, and I think he wants to keep it that way. Like, I'm just a big dumb coach, and remember, was it Doofy in Scary Movie or whatever it was, and they never thought Doofy would be the killer, but he was. You play stupid, so people underestimate you, but you really like the mad scientist or the genius. I think that's the role Dan Campbell's playing. But guess what? Appreciate y'all. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Hit the link tree. You can find me everywhere. Back on Facebook, Instagram, X, the whole nine. Peace.